Okay, so the poetry tournament continues. I want you to do a couple things with me before you get started. The first thing I want you to look at in the attachments is kind of the playoffs. So the first 6 weeks were 2 poems where you filled out a Google form, and I gave you some questions, and then you evaluated the poem on figurative language, the form, the way the words were put on there, the rhyme, sound devices, theme, and if you felt like the poem was accessible and engaging, like you could understand it and you could engage with it. So I kept track of the points, and so you can see if you look at that poetry tournament, kind of that playoff table, you can see weeks 1 through 6, and then if you look in the center are who won. So this week it's I Am Offering This Poem versus Happiness. So this is week 7. And there's 2 things you're going to do, and I think it's going to be a little bit tricky because some of you don't ever watch my videos, so it's going to be a little bit tricky. To get points for these assignments, the first thing you have to do is you have to answer the race question. We haven't done race in a long, long time. And so the race question, it's a good one. So you've already analyzed it based on all the structural elements, the figurative language, all the bits and pieces that are on the surface. And we looked at the theme. So we were talking about the theme of the overall message of I am offering this poem. And it's like the poem is a present to somebody because they love you. And it's all you need to keep you safe and happy, and just know that this is what I have to give to you. I don't have a lot of other things to give to you. And then the second poem, and so if you open up that Google Doc, you'll see I put the poem there. And then you'll have to scroll down, and you'll see that I put the second poem, which is Happiness. And this is the one from Raymond Carver, Raymond Carver lived here in Port Angeles, and he has the grave out at Ocean View Cemetery. I don't know if you've ever gone out there to see it. It's the big granite one that you can sit at and such. So he has the one where it's early and it's dark, and he's standing at the window with a cup of coffee, and he sees a boy and the boy's friend, and they're delivering the paper, and just like that flash of moment where it just, these are people who care about each other, and they're doing this thing together, and happiness, just that feeling, it just comes on, and it goes beyond, really. So there's those 2 poems. So you go down to the 3rd page on that Google Doc, and it says your assignment. So I tell you, both of these are lyric poems. They have a single speaker, they're short, and that single speaker shares like thoughts and feelings about something, whether it's giving you a present of a poem, or we're explaining this moment where everything is just right, that feeling of it just being just right. So I want you to pick one of these poems, and I want you to think about it. You have to think about it in a really big way. How do you relate to the poem? What does it inspire you to do? Both of these poems would be easy. Just pick one of them. Don't pick both. Just pick one. The one you like the best is the one you should pick, because that's how you're going to vote. So depending on which poem you pick will be the poem that gets the point. So remember, with race, it's going to be at least 5 sentences, and you're going to start off with that restatement. And I want beautiful writing, because I haven't seen beautiful writing from you in a long time. So your restatement will look something like the poem Happiness by Raymond Carver inspires me to take in the sights and see them for their beauty. Period. And then I have to say first, because remember we always transition. First, the speaker said in the second stanza, lines 5-7, quote, da 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 da. And this relates to me because I've often been up in the morning and I've seen people walking, and I think as they're walking with the sunrise with their dog, that it's just a beautiful thing, and I think that it inspires me to take in the moment and not get too far ahead of myself. And then I would transition second the speaker says in the last stanza, or second to last stanza, lines 22 to 24, quote, blah, blah, and that feeling of just happiness, like realizing that that's a beautiful thing that you're looking at, even though it's simple, very, very simple, and an everyday thing, just how there's beauty in the simplicity of it. And that's how I would do it. That's how I would do it. And I could also write about, I'm offering this poem because I think it's a very beautiful poem. And I think that one really is about, you might not feel like you have a lot to give somebody, but like friendship. There's friends I have, they have everything they could want. But I just make sure that I give them the best friendship I can give them. Or maybe it's about me being a mom to my girls and what I have to offer emotionally to them. So I want a gorgeous race answer. So when you're done with this one, well, it's assigned to you, so I'll be able to see your work for you. I do want you to hit the turn in on this, because that's another reminder that I can take a peek at your work. And then we'll see how many people choose which poems, and that's how we'll vote this time on how you relate to the various poems. So there's 2 things you have to do. You have to read the poems, and you have to answer that question on page 3.